The Jacksonville Jaguars are finally home from Canton, Ohio. They've had a good week of practice thus far, and now they're going to be playing the first official preseason game, week 1 against the Cleveland Browns in the bank. And, unfortunately, I don't think this game is going to have the lore and the crazy ending like other Jaguar-Browns games have in the past. I immediately think back to the Bottlegate game in 2001, where the league had to call down to the field and say, hey, you guys have to finish the game regardless of what's going on with the fans. So they ran back out there and finished the game. But we're not here to talk about 2001, even though it was a crazy game. We're here to talk about the 2022 season. And Trevor Lawrence is starting this game on Friday. The rest of the starters are expected to be out there, barring any injuries. Jamal Agnew, Laviska Shenault probably, I believe they have been deemed out for Friday. But when you look at Trevor Lawrence and this new rebuilt offense, for me, it is so imperative that they do get a solid-looking drive. Obviously, you're looking at maybe 1 to 2 series. Yes, that's probably a quarter of what the entire game will hold. But you still want to see them have a good long drive come through and put it in the end zone. I think it would do so much for Jaguar faithful if they were actually able to see Trevor Lawrence, hit Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, maybe hit Travis Etienne out of the backfield. Get one of those new guys a touchdown coming out of Trevor Lawrence's hands. And I think that's going to do a ton for the fan base. And I really am excited to see what Trevor does. If he goes out there and he goes 7 for 8, 8 of 10 for whatever, 100 yards and a score or whatever. I'm just very excited to see what Trevor Lawrence looks like with this new offense, but minus any real game plan going on. And I mentioned him already, Travis Etienne. What is he going to look like coming out of the backfield? He's the ACC all-time leading rusher. He's had a previous 2,000-yard season all-purpose. So what is he going to look like coming out of the backfield, getting the handoffs, playing in front of what is a rebuilt offensive line? When you look at this offensive line, 60% of them are basically brand new starters. Luke Fortner, Tyler Shatley, and Brandon Sheriff, all brand new in their positions. And then Juwan Taylor's expected to get the start. Cam Robinson's expected to get the start at both tackle positions. So they're going to be kind of some familiarity for whatever running backs behind him. Ultimately, I do believe James Robinson isn't going to play. He hasn't been in practices yet, and if he has, he's been very, very limited in them. So he's not going to play, but it's going to be the Snoop Connor and Mekhi Sargent show for the majority of the game. When Trevor's coming out, I can imagine Travis is going to come out along with him. But Mekhi Sargent did a lot of great things in Canton last week. He had 10 touches, and I do believe he made the most of them. He had a bunch of yards after contact. He had 2 missed tackles according to PFF, and then on top of that, he also did catch 5 passes coming out of the backfield. And when you're talking about a quarterback that led the league in check down passes last year, you really can't have an overabundance of those. Honestly, Mekhi Sargent's really just in competition with Raquel Armstead for that 4th running back spot if the team does decide to carry a 4th running back. But overall, very exciting to see what he looks like following up his very good performance in Canton. Now, for Snoop Connor, he passed the eye test. He looked like a good running back. Then you go back to the box score to kind of see what he actually did. You're kind of left wondering, what did you actually do? I feel like I watched 2 games. I was reading the box score here, and then I'm watching the game, and I feel like I'm reading 2 different people. But I'm very excited to see what Snoop Connor does. I would just love to see him run one person over in a Jaguar uniform. I absolutely love that video of him just absolutely steamrolling a poor Louisville defender on the way into the end zone while he was still with Ole Miss. But the tight ends, Evan Ingram, obviously he's had some bit of a drop issue. We knew that coming in from his time in New York. But what's he going to look like in live snaps playing with Trevor Lawrence? How's he going to look, catching passes in live reps? How is Luke Farrell, who had speaking of someone else who had a very, very good game in Canton. Luke Farrell played very well in Canton. I'm very excited to see what he looks like going forward. But Dan Arnold is kind of in there, kind of the same level as we know what they are. We know what we're going to get from them. Kind of like how Cam Robinson is, We just know he's a very solid left tackle. We know what he is. We know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. That's exactly how I'm looking at Dan Arnold this preseason. We know he's a guy that's probably going to get you 45, 50 catches. Maybe if he has a really good year, he's going to get 55, 60. But if that's all he gets, great. That's a very good second tight end to have on your team. And he's really did show a lot last year prior to his injury. And for the wide receivers, I kind of hit on them already, but I really do want to see one of them get a touchdown. I would love, whether it's C.J. Beathard, whether it's Trevor Lawrence, it doesn't matter to me who it really is. I would absolutely love to see one of them just get it in the end zone. I'd love to see Christian Kirk. I want to see how they line the top 3 up. I want to see how they line Kirk, Jones, and Jones up. You know, are they going to have Zay at the outside X spot? Is Christian Kirk going to be out at that spot? Where are they going to play Marvin? I'm really excited to see what they're going to show. You know, there's no real game plan going into this game, but still, I'm very excited to see where they line them up, what kind of route combinations they have once, you know, we come back at the end of the game and look at what they actually did. Very excited to see what this starting 11 does, what it looks like, how it flows, how it moves, and what Doug Peterson and Press Taylor have kind of developed here. But now for the defensive line, I could not be more excited to see Travon Walker in his second game. He had an incredible showing. He had, 2 pressures and a sack in his limited snaps. So if you can extrapolate that to what might be a full game, or, you know, even if he just plays the first quarter, I'd love to see him for the first quarter, maybe play a little bit of the second. He needs the live reps. He needs to continue to work on his pass rushing ability as someone that doesn't have a huge toolbox worth of pass rushing maneuvers. So any live rep you can get him against an opposing offensive lineman that he doesn't see in practice every day, it's an incredibly beneficial rep for him. And the same with Arden. Can he replicate what he did against the Raiders up in Ohio? You know, he was a monster. And that game, 2 sacks, he was all over the place, you know. And then K'Lavon Chaisson, I'm not going to say he was good. He was K'Lavon Chaisson good, I'll say that. You know, he was able to get some pressures. You know, he had the really good opportunity to get whoever the Raiders quarterback was, and he kind of just, the Raiders quarterback kind of just like stepped out of his arms. Didn't even really look like he actually got a hand on him, but he did force him into Arden Key. So, you know, you do get the pressure there. And that's not a whole lot. That's not something we've seen from K'Lavon Chaisson a whole lot in his career, you know. He's kind of just been lumped in with Taven Bryan as just another bad defensive line pick that shouldn't have been made, and we're just paying the price of having to keep him on the roster. So those 3 guys, very excited to see. You know, if we see a little bit of Josh Allen, it'd be really cool to see what Josh Allen and Arden Key look like coming together. And then for the interior, Foley Fatukasi is hopefully going to play. He didn't play last week due to, I believe it was a calf injury. And Malcolm Brown just wasn't a part of the game plan that they wanted to roll out there. So I'm very excited to see what those 2 look like. You know, Roy Robertson Harris, if he plays again, what this front 7 is really going to look like. Obviously, Devin Lloyd still hasn't been introduced to padded practices. So for that, we're going to probably see Chad Muma again. Well, Chad Muma was wearing the green dot last week. Obviously, he's not going to if Foye Oluokun is in the game. But once Foye comes out of the game, I do expect Chad Muma to kind of get that green dot responsibility once Shaq Quarterman comes back in and those 2 start working again, because they showed a lot of athletic ability. You know, Chad Muma was making impact plays whether or not he was getting the tackle. I'm very excited to see what Chad Muma can do, because you see the raw athletic ability, almost with Travon Walker. You see the raw athletic ability. They're both very, very athletic people. And so if you can kind of just harness that and really let Chad Muma just run sideline to sideline, I think you're going to have a great linebacker in Jacksonville for years to come. Almost as a depth guy, because you still have Devin Lloyd, who is one of the best linebackers in this year's draft class. So the front 7, it's going to be one of the best front 7s in the NFL. I feel very confident in saying that. But then for the corners, you know, when the starting corners were in the game, you actually could tell they were starters. They belonged, because once Josh Jacobs hit that second level, he was coming down. He didn't break through the second level. You know, Tyson Campbell had some nice open field tackles. Andre Sisco was making play after play in open field tackles. Shaq Griffin, he was playing out there. So what is that back half going to look like once again? You know, if all 4 of them do start. Trey Herndon's been showing some nice things. You know, Darius Williams, is there potential to see him maybe? I haven't heard any injury things about him. So, but regardless, what is that group going to look like once again if the entire defense does decide to play minus Devin Lloyd and, you know, kind of just some hampering injuries that are kind of floating around? What are they going to look like? And then obviously this kicking competition. I don't even want to call it a competition. It's just not good. You know, Ryan Santoso boomed a 60-yarder but then missed it. Obviously, he had the leg to make it, but still, Doug Peterson, what are you doing sending the guy out there for a 60-yard field goal, and then that's only going to be his one kick of the entire game? You know, obviously, you can't judge the circumstances, but still, I'd love to see Ryan Santoso get some more looks, just basing it off the fact that he was able to get it to the back goal line for 60 yards. And then Fry, you know, if he makes it, cool. I just want to see them kicking. I'm going to probably show up to the stadium a little early, try to get some footage of these guys kicking, because that is probably one of the bigger storylines left. You have right tackle and you have the kicking. Those are the 2 big competitions that are left, but still, there's plenty of kickers out there. Please just find one that can make field goals. And then obviously Logan Cook. Logan Cook is Logan Cook. He should have been an All-Pro last year, and hopefully he's going to be an All-Pro this year. He is one of the best punters in the league, and that's sad to say that he's one of the best players on the Jaguars as it stands right now. But let me know down below, who are you guys most excited to see play in this first official week of the NFL preseason. I'm very excited. I'm personally very excited to see Travis Etienne play. I want to see what he does, and then I really do want to see how they line up those 3 wide receivers, Zay Jones, Marvin Jones, and then Christian Kirk. So let me know down below, who are you guys excited to see? What kind of formations are you guys excited to see? I'd love to talk to you guys down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, and go Jaguars.
How about them Jags?
Come on, Joe! Ah! Thank you, baby! Thank you! You're making blood come from my damn mouth!
Duval!